He keeps them all at the lake. Other women like her? Yes and no. Their feathers are white as snow. They glide across the water while she rages through the skies above it. What if he keeps Valkyrie?
Welcome back to the Book Reading Bitch Queens podcast. I'm Allie.
And I'm Sam. And we're doing an emergency recording because this is announcement day.
Titles and covers simultaneously.
And blurbs. So everyone's talking about this, and we're not the only ones theorizing. No. And we're
probably will say things that people have already theorized, but we're just going to go off the cuff.
Yeah. So
let's talk about book 6 first. Mm-hmm. So we've got Pink and Orange and A Court of Splintered Harmony. This is the one that comes out in October. The Valkyrie Cycle Movement 1. A Court of Splintered Harmony, Akosh, as it will be called, and a weird, probably the most abstract image we've gotten so far. Some kind of bone fire, looks like a spell, looks like witchcraft, for sure.
We've got bones and teeth. We have eyeballs in these shadows. People have been questioning whether or not these are scrying bones. Some people think that it reminds them of Bryaxis with the eyes and the teeth and the bones and the fear and the like sort of abstract things. I also have seen theories that this looks very bone carvery, and that's kind of where I lean in light of the second one that has also been released today. I do still think that we are going to get plenty of Elain and Luzan and Azrael stuff, even though it is a Valkyrie cycle. It would be interesting to see Elain turn into a Valkyrie.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
But let's read this blurb and let's just break it down fucking a few sentences at a time. Like losers.
Like nerds.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So what was broken will be remade. Now, things that have been broken, we know the cauldron had been broken and was remade. But if we're talking about the Valkyrie, right, they were also broken, right? They were all killed in the war 500 years ago.
Plus, and the bone carver and the weaver are candid. That's part of a lot of.
Yes.
Is it? Have you seen a lot of theories about that specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they were broken.
Because they're dead.
Yeah.
And also, do you remember when we were just reading the chapter where they finally get the book, and the book says made and unmade, unmade and made. That's the cycle. So here we are again. But okay, so deep in the heart of the continent, Koschei the Deathless is stirring, though he's been bound to the lake for a millennia, for 1,000 years, right? Which does not put him at the 15,000 or 15,000.
Well, it says for millennia, not a millennia, technically. Yeah. So Koschei's got.
So now though he's been bound to a mountain lake for millennia, right? So presumably since Thea's war.
Yeah.
The insidious threat of his return now spreads across the Fae territories, attracting powerful allies hell-bent on reclaiming what was once theirs, the human lands.
I didn't realize he was so well known. I kind of thought
he was kind of I mean, maybe he's not super well. He wasn't super well known, but with the work of Braylon and possibly the other queens, even though the other queens did flee from Braylon. But
so are we saying Braylon, or I thought we saw it as Briallyn?
Whatever. That bitch dead.
That bitch. She is dead. Okay.
Yeah. And so what I'm assuming is that what he's doing is he's finding Fae allies on the continent to take over the human land south of the wall on the continent.
Mm-hmm.
And really he's I'm sure he's going for fucking world domination, but right, he's like he's doing the same thing that the Asteri do, that's like, oh, you have power because you have power over somebody else, when in reality I have all the power over everybody. But okay. The Night Court will not stand idly by while innocents are attacked, but with Prythian still piecing itself together in the wake of the devastating Hybern War, the task of uniting is proving more difficult by the day. And we do see this at the end of the war in the third book, that they're like, man, we gotta talk to the High Lords. We got, like, everyone's kind of like, yeah, well, we came together to fight Hybern, but like, also fuck you. And also, there's real tension between like humans and Fae within Prythian. They're like, well, Jurian's gonna head some stuff, and like we gotta talk to the human delegates, and I don't know that we can maintain peace. Like, there's some weird tensions that are happening. We know that Vasa, when she's not with Koschei, by the way, when she's not in her form, trapped on this lake, she is on the continent, I believe in the mortal realm portion of the continent, with Jurian and Lucian.
Yes.
And
that's, by the way, like, a lot of people are thinking like Azrael is going to get featured more, but I think because Koschei is a central villain here, in which we knew that, but I think that alone is reason why we'll have Lucian POVs, and we already I think established that it's not single POV, it's gonna be multi POV.
We're definitely thinking it's multiple POV. I think we're gonna get Lucian much more in this. I think we're gonna get quiet Az for a while. We're gonna get enough Az to be like, what is happening? We'll probably get him some, training montage with Gwyn and stuff like that, but I don't think we're gonna get any of the actual love triangle, love square bullshit yet.
Honestly, partly because of the orange here. I will also say, color wise, it's Akawar's colors with Autumn Court orange. And I also think it's, I mean, it makes sense, but the orange is also kind of at the start. It's like if you put the two books next to each other, it's like that same orange into the blue, and the blue obviously means, we're guessing, means Azrael. So color wise, I think it's interesting, and I also think it's interesting because Akawar is where, like,
well,
I mean,
and
I guess there's stuff in Silver
if it's moving in reverse almost, right? We're starting with the war and we're going to end with a love story, versus starting with the green of Mist and Fury.
Oh, you're connecting.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying just like blue for Azrael.
No, I'm connecting, right? The second
It is
book,
kind of a similar blue, yeah.
Yes, it's the same blue, and that's when we get the mate bond for Feyre and Rhysand. And then in Aka War, we get the war, right? We get the sisters, right? And we get Elain killing the fucking king.
Yeah. It's also like a big moment for her.
And so I think we're going to start with the height of this war, the height of Elain coming into more of a warrior place, or at least more of an active place. I don't know if it's warrior, if they're going to be using her as a seer, whatever. We're going to get Lucian, and then we're not going to get to love stuff until the second book. The first book's 400 and some odd pages. This is all the lead up. This is setting it up and realizing, oh, Prythian is fucking broken, and we have this huge threat, and now we have portals that have opened, and now we have two swords that can open more portals, and what are we supposed to do with that? Then we have the next paragraph.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he said it's called Koschei the Deathless, because we think that the Weaver and the Bone Carver are going to be the things, or part of the things that will be remade. So it kind of implies either that he's unique in his deathlessness and they really are dead, or that they are also the Deathless, and because they're siblings, or they're triplets, right? Or maybe it's just they're twins and he's another one.
They're all siblings. I don't know if it's
they call each other's twins for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if Koschei is part of that. But
I don't know.
Anyway, the Deathless as a title for him is not. We've never seen that, right?
No.
I thought that was really interesting.
There's also mythology about Koschei the Deathless, literally that name.
Okay.
The myth of Koschei the Deathless is a Slavic folklore. He cannot die by normal means because he hid his soul far away inside a nest of magical hidden objects. The most famous version of the story, Prince Ivan sets out into the world and marries Maria Morevna, a brilliant and powerful warrior princess. Marya warns Ivan never to open a specific closet in her palace. Ivan disobeys, opening it, and finds a gaunt, chained up Koschei the Deathless. Koschei begs for water, but when Ivan gives into him, his magic powers return instantly. He breaks his chains and abducts Marya. Prince Ivan tracks them down to rescue his wife, but Koschei's magical, lightning-fast horse repeatedly outmaneuvers and kills Ivan, cutting him to pieces. Ivan's magical brother-in-law, who can transform into birds like eagles, ravens, and falcons, revives Ivan using living and dead water. Guided by their advice, Ivan goes to the witch Baba Yaga, earns a super fast magical mare by completing her task, and finally catches up with Koschei. Ivan strikes Koschei with his sword or his horse tramples him. Ivan destroys the hidden soul inside the needle to finish him for good. The objects in which Koschei's soul is a needle, which holds his soul at the very center, an egg encases the needle, a duck swallowed the egg, a hare contains the duck, and an iron or crystal chest locks it all away. A black box.
That his soul's in there? That's the part that contains his soul?
It's his Horcruxes.
Okay, yeah.
The island that he is on is a distant mythical land, holds the chest buried under a green oak tree. As long as this sequence remains unbroken and the needle is safe, Koschei cannot be harmed or killed. Is it his soul in that box?
So where did you see that because didn't you see this?
Yes.
Koschei box ACOTAR.
In the Court of Wings and Ruin, in chapter 33, Elain tells the Night Court's inner circle about a vision she had regarding the human queens and the death god or sorcerer lord Koschei, revealing that he possesses an onyx box that is more vital to him than anything else, save for the captured girls he keeps.
Do you have that book on Kindle? Because if you don't, I'm going to buy it right now. Can you find that passage?
Yes.
Because it's chapter, 33 is what that said?
Chapter 33, yes. Okay. So they're talking about the sixth queen, who's Vasa. And because Asriel says, "You knew," he said to Elain, "about the young queen turning into a crone." Elain blinked and blinked, eyes clearing again, as if our understanding, it freed her from whatever murky realm she'd been in. "Is the sixth queen alive?" Asriel asked, calm and steady, the voice of a High Lord spy master who had broken enemies and charmed allies. Elain cocked her head as if listening to some inner voice. "Yes." Lucian just stared at my sister as if never seeing her before. I whipped my face to Rhysand. "A potential ally?" "I don't know," he answered. "If the others cursed her." "What sort of curse?" my mate asked before he'd even finished speaking to me. Elain shifted her face towards him. Another blink. "They sold her to some darkness, to some sorcerer lord." She shook her head. "I can never see him, what he is. There is an onyx box that he possesses, more vital than anything, save for them, the girls. He keeps other girls, others so like her, but she, by day, she is one form, by night, human again." What if he keeps Valkyrie?
He has the other Valkyries?
"A bird of burning feathers," I said. "Firebird by day," Rhysand mused. Woman by night. "So she's held captive by this sorcerer lord?" Elain shook her head. "I don't know. I hear her screaming. With rage, utter rage," she shuddered. Mord leaned forward. "Do you know why the other queens cursed her, sold her to him?" Elain studied the table. No, that is all mist and shadow." Rhys blew out of breath. "Can you sense where she is? There is a lake deep in the continent, I think, hidden amongst mountains and ancient forests." Elaine's throat bobbed. "He keeps them all at the lake." "Other women like her?" "Yes and no. Their feathers are white as snow. They glide across the water while she rages through the skies above it." What?
Okay, send that shit to me right the fuck now.
Other women have wings?
Bruh. Or, I mean, he could also have, like, seraphim or, like, things from hell, like... could also just have a lot of meanings.
When they're trying to figure out how to find her, Lucian volunteers to go find her. Okay.
Oh yeah, were we gonna look this up because of we were talking about Papa Archeron perspective?
Yeah, but yes, but okay. So who's Scythia?
No idea, but I'll look it up. Wait, that sounds familiar. Scythia, like Scythia.
Okay, so it says, okay, hold on. Let me just read this whole thing to you, right? So there's okay, and then she says, their feathers are white as snow. They glide across the water while she rages through the skies above them. Moore said to Rhys, what information do we have on the sixth queen? Little, Azrael answered for him. We know little. Young, somewhere in her mid-20s. Scythia, it's a place.
Yes.
Lies along the wall to the east. It's smallest amongst the human queen's realm, but rich in trade and arms. Papa. Rich in trade. She goes by Vasa, but I never got a report with her full name. Rhys considered she must have posed a considerable threat to the queens if they turned on her and considering their agenda. If we can find Vasa, I cut in, she would be vital in convincing the humans' forces to fight and give us an ally on the continent. If we can find her, Cassian countered, stepping up to Azrael's side, his wings flaring slightly. It could take months, not to mention facing the male who holds her captive would be harder than expected. We can't afford all those potential risks or the time it'd take. We should focus on this meeting with the other High Lords first. But we could stand to gain much, Moore said. Perhaps she has an army. Perhaps she does, Cassian cut her off. But if she's cursed, who will lead it? And if her kingdom is so far away, they have to travel the mortal way, too. You remember how slowly they moved, how quickly they died. It's worth a try, Moore snapped. You're needed here, Cassian said. Azrael looked inclined to agree, even as he kept quiet. I need you on the battlefield, not traipsing through the continent. I don't know why Cassian needs her on the battlefield, but he says that to Moore. The human half of it. If those queens have rallied armies to offer Hybern, they're no doubt standing between you and Queen Vasa. You don't give me orders. No, but I do, Rhys says. Don't give me that look. He's right. You're needed here, Moore. Scythia, Moore said, shaking her head. I remember them. They're horse people. A mounted cavalry could travel far faster. Where is Scythia? Scythia is at...
It's on the western side of the continent, I think. Because we can see it on the Silver Flames map, I think.
Or we along can see the lake. To the east.
To the east. Aren't we seeing the western side, though? And we can see it.
Yeah.
The continent's not that big.
And then... No, sheer will blazed in Rhys's eyes. The order was final, but Moore tried again. There's a reason why Elain is seeing these things. She was right about the other queen turning old, about the Raven's attack. Why is she being sent this image? Why is she hearing this queen? It must be vital. If we ignore it, perhaps we deserve to fail. Silence. I surveyed them all. Vital. Each of them was vital here, but me... I sucked in a breath. I'll go. Lucian was staring at Elain as he spoke. We all looked at him. Lucian shifted his focus to Rhys, to me. I'll go, he repeated, rising to his feet, to find the sixth queen. Moore opened and shut her mouth. What makes you think you could find her? Rhys asked, not rudely, but from a commander's perspective, sizing up the skills Lucian offered against the risks, the potential benefits. This eye. Lucian gestured to the metal contraption. I can see things that others can't. Spells, glamours. Perhaps it can help me find her and break her curse. He glanced at Elain, who was again studying her lap. I'm not needed here. I'll fight if you need me to, but he offered me a grim smile. I do not belong in the autumn court, and I'm willing to bet I'm no longer welcome at the spring court. Home, he had almost said, but I cannot sit here and do nothing. Those queens with their armies, there's a threat in that regard too. So use me, send me. I will find Vasa, see if she can bring help. You will be going into the human territory, Rhys warned. I can't spare a force to guard you. I don't need one. I travel faster on my own. I will find her, and if there's any army to bring back, or at least some way for her own story to sway the human forces, I'll find a way to do that too.
Okay.
And then Moore says it'll be dangerous, and then a half smile curves at Lucian's mouth and he goes, good, it'd be boring otherwise.
Okay, can you go to chapter 78?
Yeah.
In this chapter is when we hear about the fact that Feyre's dad was the one to bargain with fucking Koschei the Deathless. Why have we never talked about that? We probably have actually.
So right after the war, like Elain is still covered in fucking blood, right? Daddy's dead.
Yes.
Um,
72 is where where we hear about. I want to see the line where Papa Arch, they say that he's the one who got Vasa. That's
yes.
what I'm
Okay.
looking for.
Yeah. Lucian's there. She says, I'm fine. It's awkward. I've got one hell of a story to tell you, he said, squeezing me tightly, and don't be surprised if Vasa corners you as soon as the ships are sorted and the sun sets. Is she really? Yes, but your father, ever the negotiator.
Lucian saying this?
Yes.
Okay.
A sad small smile towards that burnt grass. He managed to cut a deal with Voss's keeper to come here, temporarily, but better than nothing. But yes, queen by night, firebird by day. Nasty curse.
That's crazy.
The human queens are still out there, I said. Maybe I'd hunt them down. Not for long, not if Vasa has anything to do with it. You sound like an acolyte. Lucian blushed, glancing at Elain.
Sound like an acolyte? Makes him blush?
She just said, you sound like you're a big fan of her. And he blushes and then looks at Elain like, I'm not supposed to like somebody else. I have a mate.
That's a good point for the Elreal shippers. Yeah.
She's got a foul temper and a fouler mouth. He cut me a wry look. You'll get along just fine. He likes her.
Yeah. No, and I like that's yeah. We've been talking about that too.
He says about their dad. He was a good man. He loved you all very much. I nodded, unable to form words. The thoughts Nesta didn't so much as blink to indicate she'd heard. Elaine just wrapped her arms tighter around herself, and a few more tears streaking free. I spared Lucian the torment of debating whether to touch her and linked my arms through his as I began to walk away, letting my sister decide to follow or remain if they wanted a moment alone with the burnt grass. Elaine came. Nesta stayed. Elaine fell into step beside me, peering at Lucian. He noticed it. I heard you made the killing blow. Elaine studied the trees ahead. Nesta did. I just stabbed him. Lucian seemed to fumble for a response, but I said to him, so where now? Off with Vasa? I wonder if he'd heard of Tamlin's role, the help he'd given us, the blah, 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 blah.
Can you screenshot the father thing, too?
Yeah.
This is so interesting.
Where he says he was a good man?
Yeah. Yeah, or where it talks about him talking to Koschei. Well, Koschei the fucking Deathless is making everyone quiver in their boots, and Papa Archeron's just out here fucking cutting a deal. What do you mean? How to get close? Why? Like, who is he working with? Who does he know? Like, that's weird.
Okay. This is the conversation with Vasa. Okay. Vasa said in a lilting accent, are you Feyre Cursebreaker? Yes, I said, sensing Reese listening wryly from the other room, where the rest were now beginning to quiet themselves to wait for me. Vasa's full mouth tightened. I am sorry about your father. He was a great man. Nesta, striding down off the sitting room, halted at the words, looked Vasa up and down. Vasa returned the favor. You are Nesta, Vasa declared, and I wondered how my father had described her so that Vasa would know. I'm sorry for your loss, too. Nesta simply regarded her with that cool indifference. I heard you slew the king of Highburn, Vasa said, those dark brows narrowing as she again surveyed Nesta, searching for any sign of the warrior beneath the blue dress she wore. Vasa only shrugged to herself when Nesta didn't reply and said to me, he was a better father to me than my own. I owe much to him, and I will honor his memory as long as I live. The look Nesta was giving the queen was enough to wither the grass beyond the shattered front door. I didn't get any, and it didn't get any better, as Vasa said. Can you break the curse on me, Feyre Archeron? That is why you agreed to come so quickly. A half smile, partly. Lucian suggested you had gifts, and other High Lords do as well, like his father, his true one, Helion. She went on before I could answer. I do not have much time left before I must return to the lake, to him, to the Death Lord who held her leash. Who is he, I breathed. Vasa only shook her head, waving a hand as her eyes darkened, and repeated, Can you break my curse? I don't know how to break those kinds of spells, I admitted. Her face fell, and I added, but we can try. She considered, with the healing of your armings, you won't be able to leave for some time. Perhaps it will give me a loophole, as Lucian called it, to remain longer. Another shake of the head. We shall discuss this later, along with the threat my fellow queens pose. My heart stammered a beat. A cruel smile curved Vasa's mouth. They will try to intervene, she said, with any sort of peace talks. Hybern sent them back before this battle, but I have no doubt they were smart enough to encourage that, not to waste their armies here. So the other queens are also, I mean, I don't know about, because Brialyn is still alive at this point.
Oh, at the time of the conversation, yes.
Yeah.
And that's just foreshadowing for Silver Flames and stuff.
Nesta does not like her.
Yeah, well, because she's like, my daddy, your daddy, and Nesta's like, fuck you.
Oh, he was a dad to you?
Weird. Yeah, that's really fucked up that he's like that. It's crazy. Wait, can you send me that screenshot too?
Yeah.
Okay. That is really interesting. Okay. So,
well, and did I just?
He's bound to the lake. In city start of his return. It makes me think also, so from this paragraph, is that implying that Koschei being stuck in this mountain lake is part of the reason why the humans have control over their lands? That's technically the implication of that second sentence. It's just that as the insidious threat of his return spreading across Fae territories attracts powerful allies bent on reclaiming what was once theirs, the human lands. So it makes it sound like those are tied.
In the war 500 years ago, they lost those lands, right? Yes. They made the wall and the humans got the lands. But those Fae in the north once ruled that whole area. So I think what he's doing is leaning into what they want to get them to ally with him and promising their lands back, when in reality he's trying to do his own thing. And I think that he could be the thing that was in the lake underneath the mountain that Elain had to fight in Windlin or whatever, and where she found the sword that had the ring in it. Okay, next paragraph.
Yes.
To make matters worse, those who rule and protect the Night Court are reeling from recent betrayals and revealed truths. The rifts between them seem insurmountable. Betrayals and revealed truths. Now, we have always speculated that Mor will betray them, and her power is truth, so that kind of seems to go there. But I'm also thinking that there could just be some intense disagreements, right? You have the beginnings, the foreshadowing of different disagreement between Azriel and Rhys over Elain that can cause tension. Nesta and Rhys fucking hate each other, but he does like bow to her because she saved Feyre's life. But also he's real pissed about the whole giving the mask to Bryce and yada yada, all the things, right? And so I think Cassian will side with Nesta, and you will see a Cassian Nesta versus Rhys and Feyre arguments a lot. I think that Elain is going to end up finding out about this necklace business. I think that maybe her and Gwen are going to have this conversation, and then her and Gwen are both going to be like, what the fuck as? Yeah.
Okay, so Nesta. So our thoughts for the is Nesta and Cassian versus Rhys and Feyre, or
at least tension. Elain. At least tension.
Okay.
I think Elain is going to be mad at Azriel. I think Azriel is going to be mad at Rhys.
But not over. When it comes to war, I don't think that would keep them. I was actually thinking more like the High Lords would be all like.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. But
okay, High
but
Lord.
this says like, but it also says that the Night Court is reeling from recent betrayals and revealed truth. The rifts dividing them seem insurmountable.
I think that's a more has been. Which, by the way, we've recorded ahead. But the chapter we're about to record is chapter 42, where it's just your body, that scene. Morris, that's one of those key moments where they're attacked and Morris not there. Just so conveniently, it happens so much. I think that's a strong contender because I honestly think the Moore theories are really good theories. Like, they're strong.
Yeah.
There's a lot of evidence for them. Is there anyone else that we think could be well, we've speculated about Lucian being, but that would be like, okay, that Lucian was once aligned with Highburn, or like that he was more involved than we think. But that's not really a real betrayal.
But, and to be very honest with you, I think I don't think Lucian is going to be the betrayer. And even if we find out that he was more aligned or knew more or whatever, he was not happy about the Highburn stuff. Yeah. And Lucian was kind of a follow the leader with Tamlin. And so I think that what we might see now is that he pushes back more. That when Rhys says something, he's like, no, I turned a blind eye for 50 years when Tamlin made poor decisions. Yeah. If you want my help, you're going to have to hear me. Now, I don't know what could possibly divide them. I mean, maybe it's the way that they're going to handle the Bryce situation that divides them. Maybe because now Nesta has Gwydion / the Star Sword, and she can open up portals now or voids, because she can open those up with the sword and Truth Teller together. So yeah, I don't know.
Bryce gave Nesta the sword and Nesta gave her the mask. But Bryce gave the mask back, or no?
Yes. Nesta gave Bryce the mask and Truth Teller. And then she brought Truth Teller and the mask back, and then she handed the Star Sword to Nesta and said, you once said that you had an 8-pointed star tattooed on your back. Take this. And she goes, why? And she goes, you had the tattoo. Figure out how you can use it. She's like, I don't need the Star Sword to know that I'm Starborn. Take it.
Yeah, that's a big Nesta's Starborn thing.
So Nesta now has ownership of the Star Sword and control over the Dread Trove, and quite possibly Truth Teller.
So are you saying Nesta having too much power could lead to some tensions, or no? You don't think she's gonna wield it like that? Okay. Also,
no, but I could see her pushing back against the way that Rhys wants her to wield them, because he's already doing that. He's like, "Why? Don't give her that. You gave this person who's going into a different fucking realm all these things. Are you stupid? Are you crazy?" Like, he was pissed. Now, he did make friends with Randall and the mom, Ember, right? But yeah, I don't know. There's some stuff.
So is that all the tensions that we were theorizing about, possibilities?
Yeah, I think so.
And then
our last one, where my theory comes in.
But to defeat, okay, hold on, let me go there.
Okay, but to defeat Koschei's creeping shadow, they must find a way back to each other and resurrect their former alliances. To survive, they must find a way to repair the splintered harmony all around them. Here is my theory. Nesta has the mask. She can control the dead. She also can now open up portals. And who do we know would be really great at fighting Koschei? The people on the fucking cover of these books. The Bone Carver and the Weaver. And how do you have the Bone Carver and Weaver help when they're dead? You resurrect them.
With the mask?
With the mask, with the cauldron, with the sword, and the dagger. Any of those could bring them back.
Do you need all of those, or no? You
do not need all of those.
Yeah. So do we think Nesta specifically is going to resurrect, or just that they'll together all, like, it'll be a thing? A group effort? I
think that Nesta is going to be the one to do it, maybe with Elain's help.
Okay.
We see in Throne of Glass that Elain uses word marks to open up a portal to the land of the dead, to the realm of the dead, to talk to Nehemia. We also see in Crescent City at the very end of the third book when Jessica sacrifices her life for Bryce's, she goes to the place where the dead go. And Bryce sees her there, and then she turns and she also sees Danica and all of the wolves. And she turns to Jessica and she says, "How is this possible? They get like Bryce gave me the last of her power in the drop, and everyone in the Bone Quarter gave me all of their second light to use against the Asteri. They shouldn't exist anymore. They sacrificed their second light." And Jessica says, "That which is eternal cannot be lost or be broken," or some shit like that. Meaning that even if you give your first light, give your second light, like it's a holdover, right? People die, their souls go to the Bone Quarter. Then that's when they have like a second death where they go into the actual realm of the dead to live peacefully in eternity and yada yada. But we've seen this realm of the dead, which means that they can open up a portal to this realm and find the Bone Carver and find the Weaver and resurrect them.
Okay. I like that. I think that's really interesting.
Can I tell you what I think the book is going to do?
Okay, go.
I think that this book is going to open up when Bryce is still there. I think it is going to be the background for when Bryce and Nesta and Azriel are on their little Lord of the Rings hike. Okay?
Yeah.
And we're going to see the inner circle wrestling with what that means. Then we're going to see Ember and Randall. We're going to have some of those moments. We're going to hear lots of Koschei bullshit. We're going to see Rhys be pissed at Nesta about giving the mask away. And then we're going to see Nesta walk in with the mask and truth teller and this sword and be like, "What now, bitch? Quit talking your shit." And then I think we're also going to see the Dusk Court rise, and that the Valkyries, so the three of them, Nesta, Emery, and Gwen, are going to go into these tunnels, and they're going to go under Ramiel's mountain to find out what's under there. I think we're going to end with them entering under this mountain and finding some fucking nonsense. And somewhere along when they're doing that bit, I think the rest of the inner circle are going to be trying to figure out how to resurrect the Bone Carver and the Weaver. And I think they're going to use Elain to see. I think they're going to try to figure out portals, yada yadas. They're going to call Miriam and Dracon back because they need the cauldron to resurrect people. And I think that they're going to be trying to contact human lands, and humans are going to be like, "Please stay out of our business." They're going to be fighting with Lucian and Jurian over human versus Fae alliances. I think we're going to see some High Lord conversations where they're like, "Hey, we still have this threat." And there's going to be a number of High Lords that are like, "Nah, this is a you problem, Rhys. This isn't an us problem. We're not fighting another one of your wars." I think that the Summer Court is going to be like, "Bro, we were hit fucking hard. We can't fight in another war." I think Amryn is going to be like, "Rhys, you cannot keep asking the Summer Court to do this." And she's going to be a little bit of a like speaking for the Summer Court a little bit because of her relationship with Varian.
Yeah.
And so I think that those are going to be the tensions, and I think it's just going to be the tensions, the bullshit, people not agreeing, and then we're going to see the plan that we had, like there's going to be some sort of betrayal bullshit. People are going to be arguing all over the place. I think that there's going to be the Dusk Court is going to rise. I think we're going to finally at least enter under the mountain of Ramiel, and like it ends with like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is this?" kind of a moment. And I think that that's kind of what's going to be happening. The second book, I have different theories for. Okay. A Court of Forgotten Melody. That has our spider on it with a spool and thread.
Yes, Stygian spider.
More shadows, more whirly, swirly shadows. And it has our 8-pointed star on it.
Where are you seeing the shadows?
Around the spider.
I thought that was the spider silk.
Oh, could be the spider silk, sure. Yes, it is. Sorry. All right, first line. What was lost will be reclaimed. I don't think that is a good thing.
Do we want to talk about the title overall or no? Because I guess you have a theory.
Sure. I don't know that I have a theory about the title.
Forgotten Melody. Okay, because the tagline being "What was lost will be reclaimed," and then this is Forgotten Melody.
Yeah.
And the spiders, like, also, what is this? Is this just like a knitting tool in its hand? What is that thing?
Mm-hmm. It's a spool. It's a spool of thread.
Okay, so it definitely is. Okay, spider silk. So yeah, the Forgotten Melody definitely seems like, obviously, I don't know. Forgotten.
You know who what a lot of people forget about a forgotten song?
What?
The song the Weaver sings when she's looming.
Ah.
About the sisters and the guy who chops them up or whatever and drowns them and yada yadas. Yeah, we can talk about that another time. But
yeah, Prythian might never be the same again. Traditional alliances are crumbling and no amount of diplomacy seems sufficient to repair them. With the continued threat of Koschei the Deathless on the horizon, a united front is crucial and farther out of reach than it ever has been before. Bonds will be tested, power will shift, and old enemies will emerge from nightmares of the past. As the Night Court's inner circle disperses far and wide, desperate for any advantage against Koschei and his mighty allies, peace hangs by a fragile thread. But hope can be spun from the darkest of shadows, and the Night Court has its own part to play in the looming crescendo. Okay, so, yeah.
What was lost will be reclaimed. Okay, here is my fucked up theory.
Okay.
In Crescent City, we learned that there are only two places in the universe that the Asteri have been, the Daglan have been, that have defeated them. And that is Hell and Prythian. The Asteri, when the gates were closed to Prythian, have not been able to find Prythian again. They have a huge map, star map, planet map, and they've been looking for Prythian. Bryce tells Rhys they are gunning for you. They want you. They want your land back. They were doing great here. They were kicked out. They want to take over again. Prythian was lost to the Daglan. I think that we're going to see a moment where they return, because this last one that says, right, and old enemies will emerge from nightmares of the past. I'll come back to that in a second. I think we're going to see that gate on top of Ramiel open up, and I think we're going to see Daglan, Asteri, Valg, something come through that gate to reclaim Prythian.
Yeah. Yeah, because the old enemies...
Okay, so I think with like Prythian might never be the same again, right? So the Dust Court has risen, and we're underneath Ramiel, and we know about Midgard, which also is the Norse mythological name for Earth, the realm of the humans, just as a side note, and has a part to play in Ragnarok. But again, that's mythology.
That's what Ramiel means?
That's what Midgard means.
Oh, I got my lines. Okay.
Prythian will never be the same again. Traditional alliances are crumbling. High Lords, Fae, and humans, traditional stuff, right? Diplomacy is not working. With the continued threat of Koschei, so Koschei is still, I don't know if he's going to be bound to this lake anymore, but we're not at a war yet. That has not happened. With his continued threat on the horizon, a united front is crucial and farther out of reach than it's ever been before. Again, that whole first book is just going to be about everybody fucking fighting. Bonds will be tested. I think that we're talking about mate bonds. I think we're talking about familial bonds. I think we're talking about the bonds of the inner circle. Their bonds to each other will be tested. Power will shift. Nesta is going to have insurmountable amounts of power, potentially, against the most powerful High Lord ever. Power will shift. I also think that if we're rising Valkyrie, the army, right, you're going to have like Valkyrie and Illyrian, right? Maybe there's some power shifts there. I don't know. And an old enemy will emerge from nightmares of past. What I think is going to happen is that maybe Koschei's soul is in this box because of the mythology. Okay, that's not what I think is in this box. I think that Koschei is guarding the box that has word keys. Word keys that can open up that gate on top of Ramiel that was closed to the Daglan. And I think what's going to happen is that they are going to still be, right, it says the Night Court's inner circle disperses far and wide. because they're trying to resurrect the Bone Carver and the Weaver, maybe just the Weaver at this point. Maybe the Bone Carver gets resurrected in the first book only because of the cover, perhaps. But they're all over the place doing their things, right? I think that Koschei is going to get out. I think he is going to open up Ramiel, that gate, and I think we're going to get Valg or Daglin Asteri coming through that gate, and that's what it means by power will shift, and old enemies will emerge from nightmares of the past. And then when it says, as the Night Court's inner circle disperses far and wide, desperate for any advantage against Koschei and his mighty allies, peace hangs in a fragile thread. Everyone is separated, doing their own shit. The Valkyries are underneath the land, going through Ramiel. You have Elain's probably fucking off somewhere, doing some seer bullshit. Feyre and Rhysand are probably being mommy, daddy, whatever. Cassian's probably dealing with not only Nesta stuff, but he's probably doing some Illyrian shit. Azriel's spying somewhere. Mor's fucking hanging out in her private house, doing God knows what. And Amryn is no longer drinking blood and fucking Varian and hanging out. Like, they're going to be all over the place, right? They're all going to the continent. They're all going, and I think we're going to see a ton of the continent. And then it says, but hope can be spun. So again, the Weaver. Hope can be spun from the darkest of shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And the Night Court has its own part to play in the looming crescendo.
Looming.
And that could be a double entendre to loom and spin, right? But I think it's in this book that we're going to see Azriel's part more.
Okay, so if the Weaver is the Stygian, because we have already theorized she's described as a spider in the we just did that chapter recently. I'll put a little connection to that episode in on YouTube here. But so we just went over the Weaver chapter, and she is described as a spider, and
her name is Stygia.
Exactly, and she there's so many connections. She's clearly like, I mean, I guess
she bleeds
clearly,
black,
but she basically definitely is a Stygian spider. So there's that. But like then here, and she's like this neutral. You know, we don't fuck with her. She doesn't fuck with us. Like, she's seen as kind of more of a villain than anything until she helps in the war. Then she dies. And so
she helps through a bargain.
Exactly. But I just think it's interesting that the whole thing hinges on is that hope can be like, it seems like the Weaver, or the thing that creates this thread, is the thing that causes the hope. She's also like a fate figure because, right, isn't like what she's doing.
She's a death god.
Yeah. But isn't like the Weaver specific? Oh yeah, a Weaver in mythology is also associated with like the fates and stuff like that. Yep. So it's interesting that she, as like this as this dead character, is seemingly being placed as the bringer, the central, like, not protagonist, but what is she like? Is that central tool here? Unless someone else is a Stygian spider, or will be, or there's other connections. But right now, the only one we really kind of think about is the Weaver, and that places the Weaver as like this huge character that's going to cause a bunch of stuff. Unless it's someone else. But it's kind of interesting.
It will also be one of the first times, I do believe. I mean, Maeve was sort of against the Valk Princes, but not to save the world, out for her own shit. But it's really going to be the first time that we possibly see, like, Valg on Valg, Asteri on Asteri crime. Right? So that could be, it could be a real, and that could be also speaking to what those power shifts, right? That, like, the Valg have never really had to fight themselves, right? The Asteri haven't had to fight themselves. They've been a unified evil. And perhaps the inner circle is going to separate those out and use that against Koschei. Use his siblings against him. But I do think that, like, hope can be spun from the darkest of shadows. I think that we might be seeing Azriel making a deal with the Weaver.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is there anyone else who has shadows?
Rhys. Rune
specifically has shadows, or just darkness?
Does it shadows?
Oh, wait,
he specifically has shadows.
Does Cormac also?
Yeah, Cormac's allegedly dead. He blew himself up to take out that area during the...
Yeah.
Yeah. he did a yielding, if you will.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Okay, so the only shadow power that we really know is like specifically from those people, like Shadow Singers, Azrael, Cormac. I mean, I guess Avalon in general
Avalon,
is like the
yep.
Shadow Court, right? Is
Which
there other shadow connections or no?
the Dusk Court could have shadows, but I don't think so. I mean,
Well, I would
there's
assume so
the
because if they're
star.
connected to Avalon, right? Or no?
Yeah, but it's the Starborn power that is specific to Dusk Court.
But if they're in the same like, right? Because you think that. Well, I guess you don't think that the Dusk Court now is what Avalon used to be, that, or that Avalon is the future version of that. You think there's different places, or you entertain both theories? Okay,
I entertain both theories.
For some reason, I thought that you thought that Avalon was the Dusk Court specifically, but now I'm realizing that doesn't make any sense.
No, I think it could be the Dusk Court in a different timeline.
Okay, but I
have to entertain both, right? Because it says they're different worlds altogether. So I entertain the information that we have so far, that they're different worlds, literally different planets. But there is a lot of evidence for this is one place in many different times.
Okay. God, my head is breaking. Court of Forgotten Melody.
Now, what I will say is I don't think that I definitely do not. I would be very surprised if we see any crossover characters in ACOTAR 6. I could see possibly maybe seeing some crossover character, something like actual characters in ACOTAR 7. But I don't think we're actually going to open up any gates until the 7th. Until 8, actually. I think that Koschei might open up a gate and bring in Valgastiri bullshit. But I don't think that we're getting Elain or Dorian or Rune or anybody like that until we get to the latter parts of 7 or into 8. Well into 8.
And do we know... So we know for sure that there's 4 movements to the Valkyrie thing. These 2 books are 3 of those. The 8th book is presumably the 4th, and then there's another ending book after that. Or do we don't know anything about?
I don't know that there's
another series will end.
I don't know, but I know that there's more Crescent City books.
Exactly, because I feel like this is not the end of the ACOTAR series. I feel like it's going to be like maybe 2 books after these Valkyrie movements, these series of books, or I guess these 3 books, or multiple. But okay, yeah.
Or what we're going to be seeing, I don't know. Because I don't even, I'm like, where can we go with Crescent City now, too? But who knows? Maybe Koschei opens up, and then, like, when he opens up, it opens, like, because the gates that he would be opening on Ramiel were the one that opened up to Midgard. Right, when the gates close, when they
can't you go in multiple places in one gate? Okay.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that when Thea sent the Asteri away, she sent him to Midgard. Mm-hmm. And so I'm wondering if that when Koschei opens up to try to let the Asteri in, the Daglan back in, he opens it up to Midgard. And the Asteri are not there. That could be a fun thing that he like opens it up. He's like, oh, my fucking brothers and sisters are going to come back or whatever. And then he opens it up and it's just Bryce there being like, haha, bitch, they're not here. And then we would come back to the crossover and things like that. Or that they open it up and yeah. But I mean, right, we have Asteri has been eradicated from Midgard into a void. We have no Daglan, except for the possibility of Koschei, really, who are hanging out in Prythian. And the Valg have all been vanquished in Throne of Glass. So you're like, how are we getting these people to fight together?
By the way, for anyone, if you haven't listened to our other episodes, we do theorize that the Weaver, the Bone Carver, and Koschei are Asteri. Not everyone theorizes that, so I'm just throwing it out there. But I
theorize that they are Valg specific.
Oh, okay.
And that I have a hunch that Valg and Asteri are not the same thing. That Valg and Asteri actually fought against each other. The Asteri are the gods of Throne of Glass that the Valg vanquished when they took magic.
Okay.
When they killed all the magic, the gods could not feed on the magic of the land anymore, the same way that the Asteri could not feed on magic. And that's why they wanted to go back to their homeland.
Yes, and that is in our episode 67 or 68. The chapter, I'll link it in the video as well. It's gonna be a whole ass YouTube video.
I can see that, like, maybe we're not dealing Asteri anymore. Maybe when Koschei opens it up, what we're going to be getting is Valg running through that. We're going to see spiders coming through that fucking portal. We're going to see Valg princes and princesses coming through that fucking portal.
So the Stygian spiders in Throne of Glass, they were regular people who got turned into Stygian spiders?
No, they were spiders who...
the Valg handmaidens took over?
Yes. They were the handmaids of Maeve.
Okay.
The handmaidens of Maeve. I think they were always spiders. And then Maeve puts Valg princesses into the spiders. The same way that Dorian had a prince in him, she puts princesses into the spiders.
Okay,
the spiders sacrifice themselves to be hosts to Valg princesses.
Okay, so her handmaids were spiders?
Yes.
Weird. Okay, gotcha. And then they host. Okay.
And the princesses are more powerful than the princes.
Interesting.
Because not all of the, right, it's only 3 Valg who infiltrate Adarlan and Maeve, right? Which she goes first, but it's only the brothers. There's still a whole fucking world of darkness that Maeve does not want to go back to because there's nothing there. Yes, a whole world of shadows that she doesn't want to go back to. And we only get 3 princes and then some, like, the Valg that he brings over or whatever. But presumably they still have an entire fucking world of Valg.
Damn. So next week's episode this will be the next episode, but then the next episode will be chapter 36 to 38.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's where we are at in the chapter by chapter. Okay.
Well, yeah. So to the stars who listened, thank you. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.